8th, 2016. My name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla here in New Mexico with your legislative update for the day. A couple things happened today. It was a very frustrating day. So one relatively good thing that happened this morning was a bill that I'm helping to co-sponsor setting up the next generation science standards for the state was passed through the House Education Committee and will hopefully be heard on the floor sometime next week or early the week after. I've been pushing for this since I first got into the legislature in 2013. These are the new type of science standards that are being adopted across the country, and we have lagged behind in implementing them. And what they do is they really work on inspiring inquiry-based education. So instead of just learning a bunch of rote data that you have to go use on a test, you actually do a lot of experimentation and questioning and figuring things out. And that's what science is supposed to be. It's supposed to be constantly questioning what's going on in the world around you and coming up with new answers. And that's how we gain greater understanding of engineering and physics and biology and chemistry and all these other things. The problem I have is that the public education department is against it. So even if we get something through the House and Senate, the governor will likely veto it. And the public education department has had 3 or 4 years to implement this thing, and they just haven't done it, even though we heard today from ex-members of the public education department that they've been working on this for a while. So it rips my soul out a little bit that we don't lead with STEM education in the state, because we have the national labs and we have these great research universities and we have all this history of doing things with science here in New Mexico, and we should be doing better. Secondly, I presented my bill in committee that would have tried to ask the people to spend $7 billion out of our state permanent fund on an 8-year stimulus package. And it failed to move on in committee because one Democrat voted against it, because one of the teachers' unions came to vote against it, because this permanent fund acts like an endowment, and some of the money goes to fund schools. I get the argument for that. The problem is this. If we had a good economy here in the state, and we had a population that was not in poverty, and we didn't have all of our educated young people leaving to other states, fine, let's have this huge amount, this $20 billion sitting in a bank account, and let's use the interest on it to continue to fund our government. The problem is we don't have those things. Our neighboring states around us, Texas has $37 billion in a permanent fund, so almost twice as much as we do, but they have 13 times our population. Arizona's got a $5 billion fund. Colorado has a $780 million fund. They haven't put their money away over time. They've spent it on infrastructure, research and development institutions, education, and they've reaped the benefits by getting better economies than we have. And I just think if we don't start thinking out of the box and investing in ourselves for long-term gains, we're going to be stuck in this rut of a downward spiral that we're in now, where all of our educated young people leave, we don't have money, and we fall further and further behind our neighboring states. So I understand this is a long-term project, and it was a long shot. It would have been nice to have it move forward, but I'm going to keep bringing this up and asking people why we're not doing this, and really ask us to think out of the box. Lastly, the Cannabis Revenue and Freedom Act on the Senate side was going to be heard today. I just waited an hour and a half to hear it, and they're rolling it to Friday because a bill before it took a long period of time. So that's the process up here. It's the way it kind of works, but it gets kind of frustrating after a while. We did do one good thing today. In my committee, we rolled 3 industrial hemp research bills into one bill, and it passed unanimously with Republican and Democrat support out of our committee. It's going to hit the floor, pass the House, hopefully get past the Senate, and we're hoping that the governor signs this year. We passed a similar version of this 2 years ago. Remember, there's a whole bunch of states doing industrial hemp, including Kentucky, which is led by all these Republicans, including Mitch McConnell, the senator in Washington, D.C. We import something like $400 to $600 million worth of hemp from Canada every year because we use the products in so many things, but we can't grow in here. And hemp's a very high-value, low-water use crop. We should be doing this in New Mexico. It is a no-brainer. Maybe we can actually get this done this year. So ending on a little bit of good news, even though the other parts of the day were rather frustrating. As always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns on these or any other issues, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Bye.